Hello guys, this time we're going to look at the production and harvesting procedure of some of our favorite fruits and vegetables. We will go through an entire process to describe the plantation process farmers carefully need to look through. Not just that, the harvesting season and overall intermediary steps our farmers takes to a cure number harvest every year. Without further delay, let's get started. The first vegetable on our list is an all-time favorite delicacy: asparagus. With around 20,000 to 25,000 acres of annual production, the United States remains one of the most asparagus-producing countries. Asparagus production is basically concentrated in states like California, Michigan, and Washington. Michigan produces a volume of 257.6 thousand pounds of corn, while Washington is the second most productive, with almost 160,000 pounds of vegetables. This plant is a perennial and has separate plants for male and female flowers. After planting the seeds, both male and female plants grow, but the female plants are taken out and planted in new lands when they are about 7 to 9 inches in length. Once they grow bigger, just at the moment of branching off, the tree bunches are cut down, with a green or purple texture. The probable harvesting season for asparagus is from late April to early June. Within this time, tree branches are cut, which we consume as veggies. Later on, the tree grows and becomes bushy before being used to produce seeds again. Second comes another widely consumed fruit, apples. According to the USDA's estimation for 2021, possible crop production will reach a new milestone of 9.8 billion pounds. In 2022, the rate went 2.7% higher and was projected to reach around 255 million bushels. Washington itself procures half of the total production of apples, with the other 31 states equally contributing to the apple production sector. Farmers tend to choose the disease-resistant variety in their particular area among the hundreds of available ones all across the states. After planting the trees, quite a few years later the apple trees got big enough to start producing fruits. At this rate, farmers usually prune out the trees for proper spreading of sunlight all over the plant. Once the fruits start to come, farmers provide enough fertilization and pest control remediation until the fruit ripens. Once it does, now is the time to pick them up and send them to factories. As the consumption of organic veggies gets more popular, spinach consumption has been on the rise for a few years now. The United States annually produces millions of hectoliters of spinach, while California takes up the lion's share of the pie, with 75% of the annual production of about 517.4 million pounds in 2021. Although nearly 56,500 acres of land will be used for spinach harvesting in 2020, the number is constantly on the rise. With a whopping number of more than 400,000 metric tons, the United States is only behind China in terms of volume. Spinach in general is a good source of natural nutrients and minerals in plenty, so it is pretty popular worldwide. The USA mainly grows 3 primary types of spinach: savoy, semi-savoy, and smooth leaf. The plant gets mostly grown in cold weather, either in early spring or summer. To grow, farmers use either seeds or plant roots. In the case of seed-based production, farmers sow the seeds in moist soil, with a possible gap of 12-inch deep on the ground and the plants nearly 2 inches apart. Within 7 to 10 days of seed planting, the seeds start to germinate. Then, when the saplings reach a certain length, farmers tend to keep them 6 inches apart. In case vegetative methods are used, farmers cut around 4 to 6 inches of stem from the growing plant to insert the roots into moist soil texture. Usually within 7 to 14 days of initial rooting, the stems develop into a fully mature stage, then get planted in the soil. After they mature, spinach leaves ready for harvest are normally 6 to 8 inches long. This time around, the fully grown spinach is cut down while the roots get separated from the plant. After a full harvest, they are ready to be transported all over the country. Number 4 on our list is cabbage. Almost all the states of the USA grow cabbage, but nearly 78% of the total cabbage comes from California, Wisconsin, New York, Florida, and Texas. Cabbage needs a relatively cold environment to grow. So most of the states more or less commercially grow cabbage, making the United States one of the top cabbage-producing countries. Last year, the USA produced an overall amount of 8.5 million metric tons. In the late winter or early spring period, cabbage is planted. Farmers need to choose a place where sunlight is plenty, loosening soil is available, and the perfect temperature for cabbage growth is 21 degrees Celsius. Cabbage grows better in a slightly acidic environment. Now that the planting is over, it's important for farmers to keep the soil evenly moisturized so that soil particles are not stuck together. Sometimes using natural fertilizer or mulch keeps the soil plenty nourished. Thus, the moisture is locked up in the soil bed. Within only 1 to 2 months, they become perfectly grown to be plucked up. Typically, in the late spring or early summer, cabbages are harvested. The last on our list for today is a sweet, savory, and all-time delicious fruit, the peach. California is the largest peach-producing state, taking up over 70% of the annual production. In 2020, the United States produced nearly 24.6 million metric tons of peaches. But Georgian peaches are so popular that Georgia itself is called the peach state. In general, the U.S. can grow about 69,000 tons of peaches a year, and almost 20 states contribute to this huge amount of harvest. Again, farmers need sunny weather with plenty of access to sunlight. Then a pH level of 6 to 7 and slightly acidic state are maintained. Well-developed drainage capacity for the soil is essential. After the spring season is over, peach trees are planted in the empty field, turning it into a fruit orchard. Now for fertilization, farmers choose ones with high phosphorus and low nitrogen content. As the tree starts to grow, the branches are often widespread, blocking air and light passages. It is now time to do proper pruning of the trees. Peach trees tend to bear fruit on second-year wood, which means for a proper harvest, farmers have to wait passionately for about 24 months. So, as long as the trees get properly pruned up, next year's yield will be bumper. In general, April to October are the best months for peach harvest. Farmers get to have multiple harvests within a year's span. In this video, we try to break down the production process of some of our mostly consumed fruits and vegetables. In general, our farmers always need to take each steps with precautions, as any fault in decision-making could eventually result into a crop failure. So we cannot help but appreciate our farmers' generous efforts to make our life so comfortable. What do you think of this?